Howdy and welcome. You are listening to A Mom's Guide to Wine, a guided wine tasting with candid reflections on motherhood. Here we spill the tea, but never the wine. And we're your hosts, Eliza James
and Rosie Gold.
And we are so glad you joined us for today's tasting adventure.
Full disclosure, for those with little ears around, 90% of our topics and language will be more on the R rating scale. Also, we are not professionals or experts. We are simply sharing our experiences and including some Google searches for support. We are amateur wine enthusiasts and professional moms. That is our skill set.
That's it. But first, the wine. And today's wine is from McPherson Vineyard. It is called a Viognier. I'm going to pronounce this properly. It is not spelt like it sounds. I read it's French, and the best way to tell you to pronounce it is it's V-N-A, and then you kind of squish it together, so it's Viognier.
It looks like Viognier.
Yeah, it's really weird, but it is Viognier. So we're pouring a Viognier today. So let me get this cracked for y'all. It is a screw top, just in case you're wondering. There will be no cork popping. Sorry. There you go. That's
Very
it.
Nice.
Little metal cap here. I'll set that there for you. So, the McPherson Vineyard is located in Lubbock, Texas, because we're giving a shout out to all our wineries located in Texas. Thank you. They've been making wine for over 40 years, and they turned an old Coca-Cola bottling factory into their tasting facility. So, that's kind of cool. This Viognier, they describe it as an aromatic, golden hued that takes its cue from its iconic cousins in northern Rhone, or is it Rhine Valley? I get confused when we get into these Europe countries, and I do apologize. But they're offering fragrant floral notes backed by fleshy summer peaches. This Viognier is perfect for Texas and the answer for Chardonnay lovers. The palate is fresh and bright with an easy, delicate weight that finishes with a zippy lift. So we're going to find out if it's zippy. And a delicious pairing for roasted chicken or pork tenderloin with some grilled peaches. And it's heralded from a French variety that's found a happy home in the hot, dusty soils of the Texas High Plains. So, let's get to tasting.
I don't know what the definition is for zippy, but it sounds like something my dad would call an ex-boyfriend in high school or something.
Zippy.
Hey, Zippy, get over here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the bottle is a great olive-toned amber bottle. It's got a gold and white label. Lovely little crest.
It looks very, formal and professional.
It looks like something that you would definitely have at a very nice dinner where you're spending over $100.
Right, but, so I think I spent $13 on this bottle of wine.
Heck
Just
yeah.
FYI. It's not an expensive wine, but it is very light and refreshing.
And if you forget how to say Viognier, it says on the back of the bottle, say V-N-A.
See, I knew I read that somewhere.
It's on the back of the bottle. There we go.
That's helpful. And this one has 13.5% alcohol by volume. So, we'll be toasty after this tasting.
Yeah.
It'll be nice. So, it's very clear. It's got a very nice yellow tint to it.
Definitely smells like a drier wine.
It smells very dry, but I think it's very refreshing. Like it does have a Chardonnay quality to it. I know you're probably not familiar with Chardonnay.
It tastes a lot like alcohol.
Oh, good, good.
I think that's the goal.
Tastes like alcohol. It wins.
It's very clear.
It's got a soft mouthfeel. It's dry, but it's not sweet,
tongue.
but it doesn't burn. And it doesn't burn going down your throat either. You know, sometimes you get those wines and they hit you and then you swallow them and you're like, oh, I was not prepared for that. This one's quite nice. It does recommend to serve it cold, and so we do have it on ice, so that probably helps.
It's kind of a wild taste, almost like a honey taste to it.
It does taste very floral.
Yeah, I don't taste sweet honey, but I have some kind of odd tone.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a background note on there. That's nice. It's very nice. We do recommend this wine. It is very nice. So this is in Lubbock, Texas. I'm not a fan of Lubbock. I'm sorry, guys. I
If
don't
you're
like...
from Lubbock.
I'm sorry. It's not my favorite town to go through, and I drive through there.
I've got a sister-in-law that lived there for a very long time.
It's just not...
It's very windy. When I traveled and visited, I remember I went with my mother, and we were driving in a very large truck, and there was a lightning storm.
Oh,
because there was so much sand and dirt in the air that was being blown around. There was a lightning storm. It looked absolutely biblical. And there was a giant tree that had been uprooted and was rolling across the highway.
That sounds
That
terrifying.
was as big as our vehicle.
Nope. Another reason I'm not a fan of Lubbock. I'm so sorry, guys.
Lightning.
Oh my
Lots
God.
of lightning, and it was red toned.
It's
Was
just
the sky.
It's just
It was
always
very
windy.
scary.
It's always windy there. I don't know how y'all do that.
Good luck. Lots
good
of
luck to y'all.
nosebleeds, I'm sure.
Yeah. But apparently they make good wine out there.
Great
'cause
wine.
This is tasty. And this is a 2019 vintage, it says on the bottle. And it does say it's from the Texas High Plains.
Well, I heard to have a very strong flavored wine, you really have to make your grapes suffer a little bit.
Oh, that's a fun fact.
So maybe that's why they're out there.
I like that. I like that. Make them suffer. Well, they're suffering just fine because this is tasty. And this is going to be perfect on a hot day, and we're rolling through the hundreds all weekend. So
Yes, it is.
Um,
And it'd
fun.
go very well with, leftover corn dogs.
Mm.
I don't know if every parent is this way, but I feel like when you become a parent, no matter your culture, you turn into a parent culture. And that shared parent culture includes you becoming somewhat like a vulture and eating leftovers that your child doesn't finish.
Amen. Amen. That's
So,
how I get my meals
This would go
in.
great with my corn dogs.
When the kid's like, I'm done after taking 2 bites, and
Yes.
they told you they were starving and they were going to die from
Or
starvation.
they just don't want it anymore.
Yeah, we
So
go through
rude.
that often. Thankfully, ours is apples. I don't know what it is. That's all he wants is an apple, which means he has great bowel movements very regularly.
Mine eats way too much cantaloupe.
But
And talking about bowel movements, they are not happy after a couple of days of cantaloupe.
I bet not. Because with the apple, he's very regular. We don't
Yes.
have to worry. So my goodness.
We're regular and full-on diarrhea.
Oh my gosh. The joys of toddlerhood. Here you go.
Just like our blowout yesterday.
Oh my gosh. We're moving past that stage, so we're potty training.
Yes.
And it's been very successful. And we've only had one outside accident recently. And it's because we've learned my son does not like to pee outside. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know boys didn't like to pee outside.
Oh.
Y'all, he will hold it as long as his little body can, and then he will have an accident because he is not peeing. How dare I ask him to stand and pee outside? I'm sorry. It was rude of me to assume that he would, I guess. I don't know. But he was like, nope, ain't doing that. So,
On our topic today.
let's bring up our topic today. So, we are in our season 1, and today on Pick It Now and Pick It Right, we are picking our pediatrician. This is very important. You're going to have this doctor in your life for 18 years or more. According to Healthline.com, a pediatrician is a doctor who specializes in the physical, behavioral, and mental care of children. And they don't just care for babies and toddlers. They can care for adolescents up to 18 and sometimes beyond. They also recommend that you pick your pediatrician at least 3 months in advance. I don't know about the rest of you moms out there or soon-to-be moms. I did that completely with my first child. The last 2 just get what they get.
I absolutely did not. I know I've introduced myself as the helicopter mom, and you might be like, oh, but I thought you would just be much more of a planner. No. I Googled a pediatrician with my hometown in there and found a clinic that had multiple pediatricians. Called them. The person that got set up with us on our first appointment became our pediatrician for my first.
That is impressive.
And we're still together, so it's great.
Oh, that's good. Because, there can be breakup stories, which we'll get to. But it is recommended that you do have your pediatrician picked out in advance, especially for hospital births, because a hospital can release you earlier if you already have your pediatrician picked out. They can also have your pediatrician, if they are assigned to that hospital or affiliated with that hospital, your pediatrician can come to the hospital while you're there and do your baby's first health check. Otherwise, you just get the doctor on standby or on call, which they're all fine. Like, I don't think I've ever had the pediatrician my kids are going to see at the hospital, like, ever. That's never been a thing.
I didn't even know they came to the hospital.
It's a thing.
Shows
they can.
what I know.
They can. The hospital my daughter was born in, if I'd had that set up, we could have had the pediatrician come. But I did not, because I didn't think... this baby number 2, at this point, I'm winging it.
Well, now that I think about it, I think we actually did have a pediatrician visit us, so I just lied. Our first pediatrician was in the hospital. My little one, which you'll find out later, has been having lots of time in the hospital in the beginning. And one of the fun little things that you don't know about is a tongue tie.
Yep.
And mine was born with that. All the way to the tip of his tongue was connected to the bottom of his mouth. And so we had a pediatrician come in and cut it. I was so stressed that day, knowing that it was happening. My eyesight was literally like kaleidoscope of colors, and it took a millisecond to fix, and she was done. She was great, and like, I was so overly stressed all day.
I would have been too, though, because I can only imagine your first child, and you're already there, and
you're taking a blade
and
to the bottom of
and you know what's happening.
My son's mouth.
You know what's happening.
And it was nothing. And it didn't even bleed. So if your child is born with tongue tie, mine was pretty significant. Like I said, it was his entire tongue, all the way to the very edge of the top of his tongue. So it didn't even bleed.
Yeah, but the pediatrician did it.
But they came in and did it for us.
They will take care of it. So pediatricians are going to be super important in your child's lives. And when you go to the pediatrician, it's best if you have questions prepared in advance.
Yes, all the questions.
They're just like what we talked about in our last episode with OBGYNs. They're busy people. They see tons of sick kids. They see tons of healthy kids. And so if you get in there and you can't remember what you're going to even talk to them about, it's really wasting not only their time, but it's wasting your time, because you're missing out on that interaction you could be having with this doctor. So I recommend either you have a notes app on your phone, and every time you think of something, you totally jot it in there, because that's the type of mom I am. I also have a notepad I carry in my purse, because I'm that person that has like 3 calendars to keep up with everything. Got one in my purse, got one on my counter, and I got one on my phone. And I use all of them. So if I don't have my phone handy, I know I got my notepad handy, and I will write everything down, just because that's the type of person I am. But I know going into the doctor's office that I'm confident that I have all my child's symptoms, I have all the questions I have about what is happening written down, and I can go in there and I can be in and out of my doctor's office in 10 minutes tops.
And
full checkup.
Actually getting everything answered.
And getting everything answered.
Because you can make a very short appointment really fast.
Absolutely.
But you also want your answers.
Yeah. And so when you're picking this pediatrician, it's following the same rules. Do they take your insurance? You can ask your insurance company, what pediatricians are in my area? You should ask your friends. You should ask coworkers, and you can ask family members if they live in the same general vicinity of you. All of those are good resources in finding a good doctor. And, you know, they have Yelp reviews on all doctors these days, too. So I'm not opposed to you doing those either. I think those are all great ways of finding a doctor.
And learning their personality. And see if it'll mesh with yours.
Definitely, because you should see somebody who makes you feel comfortable. If you don't like them, you can break up with them. It's not awkward.
Why not?
Yeah. So
you don't even necessarily have to talk to them.
Absolutely.
You can just be like, hey, receptionist, can I have all of my records from birth? And then leave.
That's it. And you just move.
Simple as that.
And these days it's digital. It's digital.
It's
you can break up
app.
with your doctor digitally. You can just go request records. Bam.
Done.
So, sad story. When my first son was born, I was not... I was used to being around kids, so I'm not like, I was a first-time mom, but I raised my younger sister. We're only 12 years apart. I babysat all through high school, made bukus of money doing that. And so being around kids was nothing new for me. And so when I brought my son home, I knew he was happy and healthy. Within 3 weeks, I knew something was very wrong, and I immediately took him to the doctor. If you ever